A ghost ship is a ship with no living crew aboard. Sometimes a ghostly vessel is talked about in fiction. However, there are many real ghost ships which have been found adrift, with its crew either missing or dead under unknown circumstances. Today, we count down the top 4 ghost ships. Number 4. Carroll A. Deering. One commercial schooner, the Carroll A. Deering, was found round aground in North Carolina in 1921. The entire crew was mysteriously missing. Just 1 month earlier, the ship had set sail from Virginia for Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, to deliver a cargo of coal. The ship reached its destination, but the events that took place after caused great speculation. Reportedly, the captain wasn't fond of his crew. The first mate made a public threat against the captain's life, which landed him in jail. He was eventually bailed out, and the men made amends, but it set a negative tone for the trip home. The incident would also lead investigators to believe mutiny for the disappearance. Later that month, a lightship keeper spotted the Deering, reporting that a man on board advised the anchors were lost. Due to broken radio, the lightship keeper was unable to report the incident, and then the ship reappeared weeks later. Rescuers noted that the log, navigation equipment, crew's personal effects, and 2 lifeboats were gone. Food was sitting mid-preparation in the galley. Due to the disappearance of several other ships during that time, the government launched an in-depth investigation and came up short. They did note that the Deering was one of the only ships to sail away from an oncoming hurricane, which led people to believe that the Deering's men fell prey to the Bermuda Triangle. Pirates, liquor smugglers, communist and supernatural explanations were tossed about. No official ruling was ever made. Number 3. Young Teaser. Built in 1813, the Young Teaser was an American privateer schooner preying on sea trade of the British Empire off the coast of Halifax. She was a remarkably fast vessel, taking many prizes from Nova Scotia, several right at the mouth of Halifax Harbour. In June 1813, the Teaser was chased by the Nova Scotian privateer brig Sir John Sherbrooke, but Teaser was able to escape into the fog. Shortly after, HMS La Hougue, a 74-gun third-rate ship off the line, pursued the schooner as she was reportedly cornered in Mahone Bay. With nightfall pending, La Hougue was joined by HMS Orpheus, and the vessels prepared to board Young Teaser, which had nowhere left to run. The La Hougue sent a 5-boat boarding party towards the schooner. As the boats approached, the Young Teaser exploded. 7 of the crew survived and claimed they last saw Teaser's First Lieutenant Frederick Johnson running to the main magazine with flaming embers. Considered Mad Johnson threw the embers into the ammunition, killing himself and 30 other crew members, many of whom lie in unmarked graves in Mahone Bay. Soon after the tragic event, eyewitness reports began to surface that the Young Teaser had re-emerged from the depths as a fiery, spectral ship. The following year, on June the 27th, people of Mahone Bay were startled to see an apparition sailing into the same water where the Young Teaser had been destroyed. As it came nearer, they recognized it as the privateer, and then it vanished in a huge puff of flame and smoke. The story spread through the country, and on the next anniversary, many more were on hand watching for the fire ship. Sure enough, it appeared again, and it is legend to this day that many people have witnessed the appearance of the ghost ship and have seen it disappear in flame. If you are standing on the deck of a ship at sea, the apparition appears to threaten to ram your vessel. Many report an overwhelming sense of fear when they see the phantom pirate ship. The ghost ship, known locally as the Teaser Light, can be seen on foggy nights, most notably those that fall within 3 days of a full moon. Number 2. The Baikimo. Built in Sweden in 1911, the Baikimo was a pelt trader along the routes of northwest Canada. She was given to Great Britain by Germany. The 20-year-old cargo steamer's final voyage occurred in October 1931, carrying a cargo of fur. The vessel became ice-packed off the coast of the town of Borough. the crew temporarily abandoned the vessel and headed half a mile inland in search of shelter from the freezing conditions. The ship eventually broke free of the ice a week later on the 8th of October, and the crew returned only to become trapped in ice again on the 15th of October. 15 crew members built a makeshift shelter some distance away, intent on waiting out the winter and eventually sailing the ship free. On the 24th of November, a blizzard struck. When it calmed, the crew found that the Baikimo had vanished, presumed sunk in the storm. Several days later, a seal hunter informed the crew that he had sighted the vessel about 45 miles from their camp. The crew tackled the vessel to retrieve their precious cargo and left the Baikimo to its fate. Over the next 4 decades, there were numerous sightings of the Baikimo along the coast of Canada. Several boardings were attempted, few were successful. The ones that were, often resulting in the salvagers becoming trapped inside due to adverse weather conditions. The last confirmed sighting occurred in 1969, 38 years after she was abandoned. She was found frozen in an ice pack. In 2006, the Alaskan government began an operation to locate the ghost ship of the Arctic, but to date, they have been unsuccessful. Trapped in ice, floating, or at the bottom of the ocean, the fate of the Baikimo remains a mystery. Number 1. Octavius. The Octavius was allegedly discovered west of Greenland by a whaler on October the 11th, 1775. Crew members of the whaler Herald boarded the assumed derelict vessel, discovering the entire crew dead, frozen, apparently at the moment of their death. The captain was found in his cabin, also frozen at his desk with his pen in hand, still writing in his log. He was accompanied by a dead woman, a child covered in a blanket, and a sailor holding a tinderbox. The petrified boarding party left in a hurry, taking only the log back to the Herald. Unfortunately, its frozen state meant that it slipped from its binding, and they only recovered the first and last pages. The partly complete entry in the log was dated 1762, meaning the vessel had been in the state they discovered it for 13 years. The Octavius had left England for the Orient in 1761. The captain opted to take the treacherous but much shorter route of the unconquered Northwest Passage. It is believed the ship became trapped in ice while it's traveling past northern Alaska. The discovery of the ship meant that the Octavius was the first ship to navigate the Northwest Passage, albeit the crew never lived to witness it. The ship was presumed to have broken free of the ice in the winter months, and the crew, dead from exposure, drifted with the winds for 13 years. The Octavius was never seen again after this strange encounter. So that's it for today's video. Thank you for watching, and make sure to tune in again tomorrow for another brand new episode.